Hello and welcome everyone to the very first episode of Alternalicious by myself, Forgie. I'm your host for this podcast, and I will be bringing you news, releases, and everything really from the world of music, post-hardcore, metalcore, whatever you name it. I'm not really too concerned too much with genres, but you'll get the idea pretty soon when you listen to this podcast. As for the very first episode, I would like to introduce myself, my background, and why I wanted to do this podcast. Then I will look at some releases from September 2025. I picked out 8 albums, which is quite a lot for 1 month. This year stacked. It's a super important year for music. And then we will look at Adapt a bit more in focus because they are currently making a comeback happen after 9 years hiatus. A blast from the past, a concept I thought about myself, and that is going to be a mainstay in this podcast, just like the 2 things before, where I will be picking one album from the past and look at it in more detail, where it fits in the present and the impact in the past. Then we're gonna move on to tour spotlights. Pretty obvious, just tours, looking at the tour dates and upcoming tours, ongoing tours. Then one release from the beginning of the year and 5 releases from August 2025 to really just catch up on the insane year that 2025 was for our favorite kind of music. And of course, I'm going to wrap the episode, do some housekeeping. Now, what's my personal background in music? Is the very first of these 5 key questions I wanted to answer in my personal introduction. I don't really have a background in music. I've been listening to music my whole life. My father is a musician, even a guitar teacher, but I never learned to play an instrument. I just really enjoyed listening to music and discovering different kinds of music and different ways music is written and produced. And I then became a learned event technician, but I never was on tour or anything, just mostly doing sports events or conferences, the boring stuff that brings the money. My journey started back in, I don't know, 2001 or 2000 even. I think 2001 with Stain's Break the Cycle. I was gifted that by a student of my father, and ever since then it stuck with me. It's still one of my favorite albums ever, together with Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory, which released almost the same time, I would like to say, at least in Germany, which was everywhere in radio. You can listen to Stains, It's Been a While, and Outside on the radio, and Linkin Park's One Step Closer, Crawling, every day, even in mainstream radio in Germany. And so it just shaped my musical taste, and ever since then, it stuck with me. What otherwise shaped my musical preferences? Just having friends that listen to the same music and the energy that comes with live concerts with this kind of music and this kind of bands that we are listening to. Why did I decide to launch this podcast? Because with Linkin Park's comeback last year and the Depth's comeback this year, there's a reignited flame in me with love for music, passion for music, and just the constant longing to talk about music and my favorite artists and new releases and what I enjoyed about them, what disappointed me, what really just what there is to discover about music. So I thought I not just record it, share it with other people, and put it out there, and hoping to find some other like-minded people that will interact with me in the future. What do I hope to offer everyone that decides to listen to this podcast? Of course, new music to discover. Maybe I can do some research that you didn't did, bring you some background for new releases, old releases. Maybe you can discover some really nice music from the past that wasn't present to you because you haven't been around yet, or just didn't notice that there was a release at the time, and then you see it here and you think, oh, let's listen to it, and pretty nice, huh? Discovering new music is definitely what I want to bring and what I'm going to pour my heart out. I'm a pretty big fan of music and I just want to share that with other fans. First big category, new releases. I'm going to be looking at 8 albums from September. As I mentioned before, there's 4 releases from September 12th alone, which is just insane. One day stacked to the max. And then we're going to have 4 other ones. The big theme here, as the name of the episode really already said, is comebacks and changes. There's a lot of comebacks happening right now with not just Adapt, but also Motion City soundtrack, Woe Is Me, and also a lot of changes in members. Dance Give Dance had to change members, and I Prevail lost their singer. Villain of the Story changed their singer. Adam Gontier came back to Free as Grace. It's a pretty big theme lately for alternative music and metalcore music, and it's everywhere all around. The spotlight is on. Like I said before, Dance Give Dance underwent personal changes for their new release, Pantheon. Tillian Person, the clean vocal singer, departed in April 24 after 12 years with the band, which is a really long time. And they also had to process the loss of Tim Feerick, I hope I said that right, who was the bassist until he died in 2022. So they decided to elevate Andrew Wells from rhythm guitarist, co-lead vocalist, as the clean singer. And that changed their approach to how they wrote this album, pretty much as they said themselves that they ended up demoing most of the album's vocals while on tour together. Every day after soundchecker shows, it was Andrew Wells, the new singer. Will and John trading ideas in the back lounge. He was quoted by Scene Music Media. And Matthew, the drummer, also had to say about the creation of the album that when we did the singer change with Wells, we had already compiled songs, went back, and Will said we should write more songs to cater to Andrew. So they already had a lot of songs written, but then they decided to adjust to fit Andrew into the band, which really comes through in the album. I've picked 2 songs to really highlight the way they wrote this and accommodated the new voice, Trapdoor, which is pretty much my highlight of the album, and All the Way Down. They are a more straightforward approach to songwriting, but still bring a lot of the usual DGD chaos. Let's move on to the next one. I Feel the Ever Black Festering Within Me by Lorna Shore. A 10-piece album that, even with just 10 songs, is over 60 minutes long, 66 to be specific. And Will Ramos said that he dropped the fantasy themes he usually writes about for more personal themes driven by dementia in his family. And yeah, it's just a symphonic deathcore, which pushes maybe into mainstream. I don't know. It's still pretty long songs, even though I picked the shortest songs as my highlights, Unbreakable and War Machine, which are just straightforward, almost 5 minutes into your face. Pink Moon by Silverstein is maybe the outlier to the theme we have for this episode, as they are one of the most consistent bands in the scene, with a stable lineup and 20 plus years of releases and touring, just non-stop going on about it. For this second piece of their double album this year, it's the second release this year. They have 2 collaborations with Dayseeker and Cassidy Pope, which are quite nice songs. Autopilot is one of my favorites here on this album, as I highlighted as well. But The Fatalist just gives you that classic Silverstein cottagecore feel. So that's my second highlight. Start Again by Nevertell is an album by pretty much a newcomer to the scene from Canada. They bring a lot of fresh energy while still having that new metal feel to them. And I discovered them through their song Break the Silence with Sleep Theory, who I've been listening to a lot this year. And so it was recommended to me by my music subscription service. And yeah, I just then started listening to the album and was really amazed by how they just bring new energy with not that much of new ideas, but just a lot of power. And other songs I would recommend if you want to get a feel for the album are Sacrifice, Losing Faith, and Starting Over, which fits the theme of this episode pretty much. They'll come on tour. Watch out for dates later in the show. Same Old Wasted Wonderful World by Motion City soundtrack is the first album since 10 years by them. They reunited with the lineup, and the main focus for this album is the theme that Justin Pierre's life went through, which he told Rolling Stone was, or the main focus of his life over the last 4 years was spending time in therapy, unraveling every aspect of my mind and being, or of his mind and being. And you can tell from this album that it's a lot more structurized. There's good vibes in there. In the songwriting, it's about discovering who you are, finding peace, and just yeah, still enjoying it. It's quite a nice album. I had it 2 songs. One feature with Patrick Stump, Particle Physics. Patrick Stump of Fall Out Boy brings nice pop energy to this song, and Downer, which is quite different from the rest of the album, I would say, in approach to songwriting. And I enjoyed it a lot. This album is really thoroughly produced, maybe a bit overproduced, but still a nice listen. One album that's definitely not to miss out on is Violent Nature by I Prevail. I've heard some people say it's their hardest album to date, but yeah, if you listen to the songs I highlighted, NW theme song, Violent Nature, and God, you might get the same idea. But those are the 3 hardest songs on the album, the 3 hardest songs by the band yet. And the rest is same old, and with Rain and maybe some other songs on there, even softer than we used to, with yeah, quite a nice melodic approach for the whole album. I can definitely recommend. Brian Burkheiser left the band after 10 years due to health issues. And he was their clean vocalist. So Eric Van Leerberger, hope I said that right, is doing clean and scream vocals himself. So he's doing the warm and the raw. And he said about that he's singing all over this record now. They are not going to change the sound dramatically. It's still I Prevail, to which I would agree, but they are also not bringing the mixture to the songs as much as they used to. Like I said, there's 3 very hard songs, and then there's more clean singing in the others. I would recommend the album for I Prevail fans and people who are trying to find a good, nice listen to metalcore music. One of my personal highlights of this list, Convergence, 2 Minds in One, just released a few days ago as I'm recording this by Villain of the Story. They also underwent a change. Logan Bartholomew, the clean vocalist, left, but instead of getting Christian Grey, the screamer or raw vocalist, to take over the clean singing for this band as well, they took in Cody Crook from The Following, who brought a lot of pop songwriting knowledge into the band, or a different approach from the usual metalcore approach to songwriting. And Christian Grey said already in 2024 that I felt that I would not be the best voice to front a band. I can't help but feel we hit the jackpot with Cody, which I can pretty much agree to. I really loved Villain of the Story before. One of my favorite songs was Better, where Logan really shined on the vocals. It's one of the most warm and just like welcoming, heartwarming songs I have ever listened to. But this one, this album is in approaches with songwriting, just bringing the two minds in one theme to life and growing it throughout the album until the finishing song. Then also the production. I could tell that they probably didn't have in-ear headphones in mind when producing this album. I really enjoyed it more on studio headphones or a hi-fi system. It's a broad mix for the how would you say, not so hard songs, but for the punches in the face. It's like you know, the harder ones. It's pretty much straightforward mixing, centralized, focused, and the song Waves brings just so much of that into one song, as you have the focused approach with hard vocals, slamming slamming instruments in the beginning, and then after 145 of the song just breaks into this really just massive scene, stereo scene with clean vocals and yeah, just amazing songwriting there. Production is on point. If I had an award to give out every week for or every episode for production value, I would give it to this album. And other highlights were the opener, Shame, which really set the mood for the album. Broken Promises continued there with then Face It, I think was the first release last year even. If I can remember correctly, just being such a beautiful smack to the face. Forgie's favorite this week, though, is a different album. It's Gallows by Bless the Fall, led, of course, by the lead singer Malcore. Bless the Fall, comeback after 7 years, no music since 2018. And they replaced Matt Trainer on the drums, but otherwise stayed the same. And they have a quote that I found out there that I think having the freedom of no expectations, no deadlines, and nothing to prove really helped us write the best album possible, which I would agree. This is very much Bless the Fall, but at their peak, which may help that there's albums are getting shorter, so you can focus more of your energy on less songs and centralize ideas. But also, I think the freedom helped them out a lot. And the quote I just gave you was by Bo Boken. Sorry. Malcore, the Reddit front track, of course. One of my highlights. Pretty nice opener to the album and first single release. Just setting the mood and being classic Bless the Fall, and them just saying, we don't mind being the band that writes music for the people hanging out in the mall, just being dudes hanging out in the mall and listening to Bless the Fall. Another highlight is their first feature song on this album, Somebody Else, with Caskets, which again is classic Bless the Fall with a Caskets mix in there. You can really tell they collaborated and not just wrote a song themselves and then brought in a feature singer. And the second one is Felt So Hard, Felt So Right, which brings the warm, welcoming Story of the Year style and mixes it with the Bless the Fall Malcore style. I'm a pretty big fan of Story of the Year, so I was very much excited when I saw this feature showing up in the song list, and I would recommend it to everyone. Moving on. Adapt, the ultimate comeback. There's Blood Covenant, out October 24, about 4 weeks from when this releases, maybe just 3. I don't know when I will put out the episode exactly. They have released 5 songs. I didn't put the 5th in there yet, as it's pretty fresh. And yeah, there's Heaven, the very first single this year in May. You followed afterwards in June. In July, we had Ignore the Sun, and then Parting Ways in August. And this September, like on the 24th or 25th, they released another one. It's so fresh, I can't remember the name right now. Please forgive me. They will be going on their 20-year anniversary tour in November, December for EU and UK. They will be headlining that, Bring 1000 Below, and we're going to talk more about that later. What happened since 2016 and how did the comeback come to be? 2016, there was the Sleepless release, and then Gabriel Hellmark and Jerry Repo departed. Then it was pretty much silence from 2019 till 2024, I believe, until the comeback show at the Corefest in Stuttgart was released for their 20th anniversary, which was a turning point as they referenced themselves, just seeing the energy from the fans. And they started getting back together, writing music, and just really starting over again. The singer was quoted saying that he had a hard time getting back into songwriting after being away from it for so long. But I think all fans of Adept can agree that it turned out pretty freaking great. And we are looking forward to the album and the tour. At least I do. I'm so hyped for this. It's amazing to see them come back. That's all for that. Let's take a look back at the beginning of the band. 2004, they found themselves in Trosa in Sweden, and just started making music together. The first EP, Rose Will Decay, was then published in 2006, and it features the legendary song At Least Give Me My Dreams Back, You Negligent Whore. And that one later on went gold in 2021. So it took quite a long time, but it achieved gold certification in Sweden, which is just a nice little anecdote here. Over 100,000 persistent viewers monthly on Spotify. They are not being the support to band anymore on tour. They are landing themselves their breakthrough in 2009 with Another Year of Disaster, which also featured At Least Give Me My Dreams Back. Funny story. Just taking over some of that songs from the early demo, which you can also listen to on streaming services, by the way. It got re-released after Another Year of Disaster. And during this episode, they won a MySpace contest for who's gonna be opening for Metallica at the Sony Sphere Festival back then. They won that over, I believe, 1,500 other bands. And yeah, everyone who remembers MySpace knows what kind of a big deal that was. Yeah, then follows in 2011, just 2 years later, the first of 3 albums in a row produced with Fredrik Nordström at Studio Fredman, Death Dealers, which is the album that made me discover them. I wasn't a fan instantly, but I went to a concert with a friend who was already a huge fan since Another Year of Disaster. And that concert in a small club, they were headlining, but it was just, I don't know if anyone knows it, the MTC in Cologne. If you put 200 people in there, it's too much. So just so you get a feeling for the size, I think it's 150 maybe at most, maybe even less. Can't tell you. And it was beautiful. It's one of my favorite concert memories. And the album is great. Some really, really great metalcore songs here, which they followed up with on Silence the World, maybe their most metalcore album ever. Definitely one of the best produced I remember. And they went on a tour with Architects together, two amazing Swedish bands touring together for their album releases in 2013, just grew the fan base, and did it again with Sleepless in 2016, which is maybe more sophisticated, some would say. maybe less hard than the others, but much more um, channeled in songwriting and production. I don't know. I enjoyed all of these three albums. Maybe my favorite is Silence the World. Um, couldn't give you a specific reason. Like Death Dealers has the best memories for me, but Silence the World I definitely listen to the most. And yeah, it's amazing that they're back. Now, I would like to engage with you all about the depth. So if you want to share your personal memories, how and when you discovered the band, um, what was the moment or the song that made you fall in love in them, with them? If you're going to be at a show, if you have a nice memory about a show, write a comment, engage me on socials, and yeah, maybe go to one of these shows. Adapt will be headlining. Thousand Below is a really nice supporting act as well. And yeah, let me know your favorite album, your favorite song, and if you're hyped as much as I am, because I can't wait to see them live and to listen to the whole album. Which brings us to Blast from the Past. No long transitioning here, just go straight to the next one. I picked Phenomenon by Thousand Foot Crutch, which was released in 2003. But first, let me say a bit about Blast from the Past. Like I said before in the introduction, I'm going to pick one album from the past which I think had a huge impact on the scene, or I just love very, very much. It's one of those albums you will be listening to 10 years later, and even though you've listened to it 100,000 times, you just can't fail but listen to it again and enjoy every single second of it. I'm going to be looking into how scene was at the time. Not too much in depth, just give a general how would you say summary of the time and where it fit in. And we're gonna start with this Christian rock legend. Now the song had 12 songs, led by the title track Phenomenon, and it sold 250,000 copies or even more to date. Through Tooth and Nail Records, which improved the production value of this album so much that they were working with a really professional label at the time. It was still important to just get that nice production level. And Rock Fist, one of the first singles, cracked the top 40 mainstream rock radio charts, which is a foreign concept to European people, I believe. But in the US, they had charts about which songs got played most on the radio and requested most. And they had 4 of those radio singles from this album alone. Absolutely dominated the Christian rock scene with it. And just brought an album with mainly just positive vibes into a world where new metal was dominated by Linkin Park's Meteora, which is one of my favorite albums ever, but it's not that uplifting very much. Like, it brings you a lot of energy, it gives you energy, but that mostly comes from frustration and a place of anger about the world. And, negative emotions just are turning into energy. And Thousand Foot Crutch did that with Phenomenon in a positive way with positive emotions, which is quite the contrast. And they pretty much made the template for Skillet and Red, other pretty big Christian rock bands, with this album. My favorite song from this one probably is Quicken, which I highlighted as well. Quite energetic and departs from the usual themes of this album. Now, how is it relevant nowadays? I would say that there's a lot of new metal nostalgia right now. Seen as stronger than ever, maybe, or stronger than it has been since 20 years. Pretty much since this era with Linkin Park and other new metal bands just being everywhere all the time. And I think that there's a lot of people who didn't quite catch this album back in the day, or Thousand Foot Crutch in general. I personally just discovered them after their follow-up album, The Art of Breaking, back in 2005, which was recommended to me through Last FM. If anyone knows that site, it's pretty great for discovering new music through neighbors. Now, you would scroll your music to Last FM, and they would compare it to other users on the platform. And if you were listening to similar music, they would say, hey, this is your music neighbor. Look at what they are listening to. And I discovered so many bands through that. I'm going to be talking about that a lot in this blast from the past format. And yeah, so I listened to The Art of Breaking. I thought, that's quite a nice band. Let's see what they've done before. And wow, Phenomenon just blew me away. I think it's their best album. Not my favorite, but the best, definitely. And still brings a lot into the modern world with themes that never get old. And yeah, maybe TFK will coming back soon as well. Who knows? Onto the tour spot. I picked 8 bands currently or on tour pretty soon in Europe, of course. Focused on Europe, starting with Bleed From Within's The Zenith Tour. Scottish metalcore band upgraded tiers from support act to headliner, bringing After the Burial to Europe and UK, currently already touring since the 10th of September and will be continuing until the 12th of October. Disturbed's The Sickness 25th anniversary tour. They'll bring Megadeth with them, pretty much just a split show. Megadeth, to me personally, is a strange supporting act for Disturbed. It's very much different music, especially with The Sickness being played in whole length as Disturbed's first set, followed up by a best of set of their greatest hits. So 2 sets of Disturbed for the price of 1. Or the price of 2 with ticket prices nowadays. I'll be going to their Düsseldorf show. I'm very much excited to listen to The Sickness in full length for the first time live. Can't wait to hear voices and other highlights from this album like Shout live. And just hope they bring great energy and it's going to be a great show. Now, Thornhill from Australia will be in the UK starting October 17th until 9th of November. So pretty much 3 weeks of touring here on our continent. It's the Bodies EU UK Tour 25. Bodies is the current album. 500 to 2,000 people fit into the venues they picked. And bringing Ocean Grove and Bloom with them. I like the album Bodies. It did not fit into this episode, but I would recommend to give it a listen. And if you enjoy the music, it has a bit of an industrial touch to it, I think. Not as much as Northlane or other bands, but yeah, I enjoyed it quite a lot, actually. So then, Never Tell. Yes, I talked about the album. Great newcomer on Start Again tour. For just 10 days. Small bands need short cycles of touring if they headline. Yeah, if you see them around, if there's a tour date that fits your schedule, check them out. They bring great energy live. Support acts are Rivals, Heartless in London, and Comostatic everywhere, not London. I really like Rivals as well. They have sized down recently, I believe, but singer brings great energy. She's got a great voice, and check out Never Tell if you see them near you. 3 Days Grace, of course, going on tour with Adam Goncher, headlining their Alienation album with support Bedflower, which is a great pick. I'm personally excited to listen to a lot of Bedflower songs that are like with darker themes like Family or Jester, but also their more punky songs are very much enjoyable. 3 Days Grace will bring Adam Gontier to Europe. I'm excited to listen to old songs and new songs, of course, with Matt and Adam joining forces. I think they fit very well. We'll be talking about that in the next section as well for the new album. And I'm going to be in, I believe, Düsseldorf as well for their show. Landmarks, my personal highlight, one of the best albums this year. I will talk about that in the next episode. Europe UK headline tour from December 12th until December 19th. Now, this French metal band just amazes me to no end. Their album is an instant classic for me. I think in a few years, everyone will remember it fondly. And you can tell how quickly they've grown from this tour, going to 3,000 to 8,000 people venues with Underoath as main support, which is quite a mainstay in the scene as well since 20 years or more, right? More than 20 years, definitely. Pain of Truth playing before them, and then Split Chain as the opener. Yeah, it's just great seeing Landmarks having the success they have, and I cannot wait to see them in Cologne. Now, also in Cologne, I'll be seeing Imminence with String Quartet, the Black Finale Tour. It's a few dates. They will be bringing a string quartet and they will be playing an acoustic set followed by an amplified set with the string quartet, which is amazing. Can't wait to see this. And yeah, just another Swedish metalcore, or what you say, stringcore band that is absolutely great live. Her Last Sight are going on Germany tour, just 7 days in Germany, first time in Germany. Israeli newcomer, has some great releases over the last 2 years. Check them out if they're near you. I'm going. I just got invited by a friend. Yay. And can't wait to see them live. Hoping they'll bring the same energy as they bring on record. Now, please let me know. Did I miss anything that's really important to you? Like a band being on tour, a standout concert, bands joining forces for a single show? Let me know in the comments. Let me know which of these shows you're going to, which shows you're most excited about. And of course, let's not forget, Adept is on tour as well. They'll be in Europe and the UK throughout November and December. Catching up on 2025 releases. 5 albums from August, to keep it recent, and the album that started the year with an absolute giga bang. Stick to your guns, keep planting flowers. One of my favorite releases ever, which is why I gave it a spotlight for this segment. 10 songs, all of them quite short, just straightforward. One of the greatest approaches in songwriting and production from Stick to Your Guns I remember. They stayed stable, same members, just great songs. Invisible Rain, one of my favorites. Just it's like a shower of cold water to your face for 2 minutes, nonstop. More Than a Witness, the first released single, just bringing that classic Stick to Your Guns songwriting structure and having a great melody with really just raw vocals mixed in between. And it is followed up by Keep Planting Flowers, the title track, which is an emotional gut punch, really. And quite the contrast to More Than a Witness. Like the change in mood is so instant, or the change in energy is so instant that I had to pause the album when I first listened to it after track number 7, title track, because it's one of those slower Stick to Your Gun tracks with still very, very raw vocals to it, where you can feel every bit of emotion in the voice, and the guitar just perfectly empathizing it, and then exploding into a really broad scene. Really great. Check it out. A vote about the album's philosophy by Jesse Barnett is that Keep Planting Flowers is a collection of songs that exist to spite the nihilistic narrative. A new world needs a new you. Which leads us to Alienation by 3 Days Grace. Yes, a new you. Adam Gontier returns, but didn't return to replace Matt Waltz on the vocals, but to join up with him. I was caught completely by surprise by this news when it got announced, but turns out it works pretty well. And like I would say they very well together. Like the approach to the songs to just share the stage in each song and not splitting duties up for like, oh, your voice fits better on this song or that song or stuff like that. Just share it and have different moods for different singers or just the same mood with different singers. It's great. It works well. Mayday is one of my highlights, one of the first releases, or maybe even the first. And Death Wish is one of the darker themes, or like 3 Days Grace themes are always dark, but Death Wish really brings you back to the days. If it weren't for a bit of overproduction, like I think there's a bit of roughness missing in the records, which is not to say they're bad or anything. Just if it was released 20 years ago, Death Wish would have been one of the roughest songs from Frida's Grace. Yeah, a funny quote I found was that Brad Waltz said, um, at one point they were literally playing rock, paper, scissors to decide who would sing a part, which just shows you that they had a lot of fun creating this album. And I hope there's other people out there having a lot of fun listening to the album, like myself. Yes. And from changes to comebacks, Daybreak by Woe Is Me. 13 years since the last release, 2012 Genesis. And they reunited in 2022. Ben Ferris and Corey Ferris on keyboards and bass, which departed in March 2025. So they got replaced afterwards. Yeah, the songwriting stuck. It's a pretty great album that fits in the scene. And it's a comeback that was really just fueled by fans. They announced reunion shows and the band started trending on Twitter in the US, which is quite a thing, I believe, for a band like this. And so they just came back, and even though they never discussed new music as a band, like they didn't say, oh, let's get back together and start writing and all that, it just happened. You can feel that natural approach. Some of the songs have a really different feel to them in production and songwriting, which is with like naturally progressing songwriting. It happens because it's quite a lot of time, and you can tell that they really grew and are not just throwing punches on every single song on the album like they used to. I liked it very much. Now, one of the more big albums here by a band who also underwent changes. So many changes in the scene lately, but also a lot of nice comebacks. Atmospheric by Hands Like Houses. They replaced Trenton Woodley, who departed in 2023, with Josh Raven. And the transition opened a whole new world for creative discovery, which really shows on this album, where they have a unique approach to songwriting or album production by splitting up into 4 discs, with a 5th bonus disc on the deluxe edition, which has acoustic songs and one special version of The End, which I really like. For this, I was focusing on the main discs. I highlighted one song from each disc, which to me, these songs really just showed the difference of the 4 discs the best. The opener, Heaven, just a really great rush, adrenaline rush at the beginning of an album. Then Panic, highlighting the difference between the discs, the best, in my opinion. And Obey featuring Kellen Quinn, just because I'm one of the biggest Kellen Quinn fans out there. Every song with him is a highlight for me. And Fatally Fractured, a more classic song by Hands Like Houses, but really great. Which already wraps everything I have to say about this album. I liked it very much. You can listen to the discs in just a 4-piece. Like it's wrapped. There's like no. You're not missing out if you're not listening to the whole album. But You can feel the changes if you do listen to the whole album. Buried in Jade by Thousand Below. Adept's supporting act for their tour this year is opened by really aggressive fueled song Kerosene, followed by my favorite of the album, Palace of Dread. And they just have a more melodic approach to the music, fitting Adept quite a lot, but also a lot of emotional balance in there. So it's not just post-hardcore with melodies, it's a lot of emotions. And I would say Buried in Jade, the finisher of the album, is just one of those perfect finishing songs. It goes almost 5 minutes. It has a great slow build into a nice and big scene. Seasons is an approach by Her Last Sight. I talked about them before in the touring action. They are from Israel. Check them out. They released their second Seasons EP, I would say, with just 7 songs, Summer, recently in August. And my favorite song here was Dead End featuring The Curse Within, which gave me a feeling of listening to an Avenged Sevenfold song from 2003, maybe. You know, or just like Unholy Confessions, maybe. The song isn't quite similar, and I can't really figure out why it gave me that feeling, but I just got it, and it was amazing to listen to it. I'll check them out live. Maybe you will too. If so, let me know. But first, there's the song of the week. I just wanted to pick a song that I especially enjoyed listening to while creating this podcast episode, and this time it's going to be Waves by a Villain of the Story. I've talked about it before. I would definitely recommend giving it a go if you like metalcore. And maybe let me know if you enjoyed it as much as I did, which goes for everything I just talked about. Leave me a comment about what I missed, what surprised you the most, which songs you were really not able to stop listening to, and connect with me on. I'm Forgie. You can find me as Forgie11 on all socials. And next episode, we're gonna be having Silverstein as our artist in focus, talking about their 20 plus years with just consistent releases and powerful tours. Adema's self-titled debut from 2001, which is just one of the new metal releases from back in those days that really stayed with me for a lot of the years, and maybe some of you can relate. Landmarks, the darkest place I've ever been. I highlighted how this is one of my highlights from this year. I'm going to be talking about that in the catching up on 2025 section. Talked for almost an hour. I'm gonna wrap it up here and have a drink. Final words. I'm not quite sure about the format of this podcast, if I'm able to do it weekly or bi-weekly, or maybe just whenever I feel like it. Who knows? I'd be happy to have you next time. Bye bye.